Experience the joy of watching your friends and family's faces light up when you feed them wild game you harvested and made into delicious sausages, or meat you barbecue and grill with the finest seasonings available. Visit our friends at waltons.com to find everything you need to turn wild game into tasty meat snacks or spice up your barbecue with new flavors and seasonings. With over 500 seasonings to choose from, there's something that everyone will love. They even have step-by-step videos and how-to articles at Logistics to help you go from animal to edible. Use coupon Rangers15 at checkout to save 15% on your first order at waltons.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.
This is Ranger prospect Blaine Krim, and you're listening to the Ranger Report podcast.
The Ranger Report. Yeah, the Ranger Report. You want the inside scoop? Listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go.
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Ranger Report podcast. I am Ben Dieter. You can find me on Twitter at bdieter75.
I am CJ Berryman. You can find me at CJB_RR on the Bird app.
And we are joined by 1310 The Tickets and Diamond Pods, Tepid look at that. I'm good at English. Tepid Participation. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You can just call me Michael. Everyone screws that up anyway. So
I just call you Tep.
That's so I've been there since 2008 going to game, and I'm almost certain that about half the people I encounter on a daily basis have no idea that I have a real name. My name isn't I mean, they haven't even processed that. So yeah, I'm TP, I'm Tepid, I'm, Michael to a lot of people, but yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to join you guys. Happy to be here.
I appreciate it. Yep. And so if you haven't listened to it, you guys need to go check out the Diamond Pod. But I wanted to start with, a super serious question, right? We're a month into the season. The Rangers are probably a terrible team, right? And Corey Seager's a bust, and Marcus Semion's a bust, right? If you follow a lot of the Cowboys / Rangers fans on Twitter, this is the worst team in history.
Yes. Yeah.
So to me, it's just crazy. We talk about that a lot. Just how
and Adolis Garcia sucks. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I mean, now, out of all of those guys, I will say that the chances of Adolis Garcia sucking are far greater than those other two guys.
Yeah.
I would. Well, if you're holding your breath waiting for Marcus Semien to hit 140 for the season, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
The brain explodes. But I saw Adolis. We saw him with the Cardinals. He rolled through with Springfield, and even then, he was a incredible physical specimen.
Yeah.
But, always remember, there's a reason a guy's a rookie at 28. I mean, that's never a great sign. Now, I can't believe that they've been able to get the value out of him. I think last year, he ended up being a 3.5 win player, which that's pretty damn awesome from your center fielder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a guy that you were trying to, and the funny thing is, one of the things that I don't let the Rangers front office guys or the scouting department take a victory lap on is Adolis Garcia last year, because they DFA'd him in February.
Yeah.
So I remind them of that, like, hey man, how about Adolis? I'm like, yeah, the guy you released and then no one wanted him. So you said, like, let's not take a victory lap on that. You yourselves have been shocked by this because you tried to get rid of him. But I mean, he's turned out to be kind of a breath of fresh air, and he is I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see him in person, but
Ben has, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
Like he is absolutely jacked and seems by all accounts to be just a really, really good dude, really nice kid or guy. I mean, he's not a kid, but great
Tep, he reminds me of Elvis Andrews, the way he enjoys playing the game.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I mean, he's got a lot of that Latin flair and obviously he's Cuban and Elvis is Venezuelan, but he plays the game with passion. He doesn't take anything for granted. And I just love watching the guy play. I mean, I still too much swing and miss for me to project. I think he's right now he's a role 5 player. So that's an everyday player on a non-playoff team.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's a 60 grade player, meaning an everyday player on a playoff contender. But I mean, shoot, he's been everything that they'd hoped for and way, way, way more. So kind of playing with house money with anything Adolis gives you. But I still can't believe sometimes that Corey Seager's on the Rangers. I know you mentioned him. I mean, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, it's still amazing to me. And one of the days in spring training, if you guys have been out there, the first 2 fields are the big league fields. And then I usually just walk right past those and go to what is known as the backfields, because they literally are in the back part of the complex, and that's where all the minor leaguers are. Every once in a while, I've learned over all the years, every once in a while, I need to stop at the big fields and sort of recalibrate my eyes and remind myself what it looks like. And this year, I had a chance to, just as I was walking in, there was nobody else there really, and I walked in and just so happened that as I was walking in, Corey was getting into the cage for a full round of BP. And I stood there and watched a full round of his, I think 4 sessions, probably 8 to 10 pitches of each. And it was incredible for me because it reminded me very quickly, that's a $300 million player. Like the bat was loud. The ball was
350, Tep,
yeah.
350.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a beautiful swing. It was effortless. He was in there doing work. He was going the opposite field. And then when he was using his A swing and trying to pull the ball, it was clearing the fence by 40 feet. I mean, it was really remarkable to watch him. And I think that, obviously it's a long-term commitment they made to him, but I think that Rangers fans should be happy that this guy is their shortstop. At least I think he's probably got another, and I'm one of the bullish guys on him. I think he's got another 4 or 5 years at short. I really do. Yeah. I mean, and also the other thing too is nobody's bumping him off that position anytime soon.
No.
I mean, Ezekiel Duran, I get to watch every day. I'm going to head over to the ballpark in just a little bit and watch him again. He's not going to bump him off a shortstop.
No.
There's nobody coming up. I watched a lot of Maximo Acosta and Surprise. He's not going to take Corey Seager's job. Daniel Cueva, who I really like, who's in low A. He's an athletic kid. He's not going to take Seager's job. And so I'm one of the more bullish guys on his ability to stay at short. I think he's there for a half a decade, and I think Rangers fans are going to enjoy it.
I think you're right. Let's look at AAA for a minute. I know you do Frisco more because that's where you live, isn't that?
Well, I've got a whole lot of questions about you or for you about AAA. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start. How long does Leody need to play the way he is before he gets called up?
I don't know. My biggest thing is when he does get called up, not to what's our language barrier here?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. I really don't. I just really don't want them to screw around with him is the best way I can put it. When
that's
they bring him,
what I felt they did last year. That's what I felt they did last year.
There's kind of a history of that because it's really hard to bring somebody up and just sit there and go through the growing pains with them. Yeah. It's not fun. It's not fun for anybody. Sometimes it's not fun for the player, and they've with Leody in the past. My thing is, I am not terribly interested right now in bringing him up to platoon.
He's got to play every day.
Yeah, I think that whenever you're ready to make that move, and to be realistic, if it's another 30 days, if they bring him up June 1st, I think that's fine. Put him in center, move Adolis to right, and continue your platoon in left. I think that's fine. But you've also got to talk to Adolis about that. To be honest, I mean, that dude, as we mentioned, he's not an elite fielder, but he's good enough, and he's earned the right to be able to say, I get this position to a certain extent. I mean, obviously, that's still a manager and a front office's decision, but he can put up a stink if he wants to. And if he's fine with moving to right field and Leody continues to hit the ball well, and it's a lot of stuff too. I want to remind everybody, there's a lot of stuff that we don't see that goes into and we see the numbers, we see the batting averages and things like that. Now we're getting to see exit velocities in AAA only, which is really nice. And he is definitely hitting the ball harder. But there's a bunch of factors that go into whether or not a guy is ready for that. Most notably, the one we'll never see, which is maturity and how calm is, what's going on in his head, And I think that in Leody's case, certainly, I think some of the times that he had been up before, maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe just the brain wasn't ready. The heart wasn't ready. The emotional maturity wasn't there. And that's one of the things that as fans, we're never really privy to, because anyone can just look at Leody's slash line right now and go, holy shit, why isn't put this guy up? Cole Calhoun sucks. This guy doesn't in AAA. Well, I got news for you. Two things about that. One, Cole Calhoun he deserves at least another month because he's got a big league track record. And two, Cole Calhoun would probably put up that same line in AAA. He could probably hit 368 in AAA. He's hitting 130 with a 300 OPS. He's terrible in the big leagues right now, but and he's got a good clubhouse presence. So long answer to your question, as I'm known to give. I think it's probably, I would like to see June 1st. And then if everybody is amenable to it, I'd like to see Leody up in center and Adolis in right, continue the platoon in left, and make sure Adolis is ready for it. Just check his head, make sure he's ready to come up and stay up.
All right. So we got to ask about another one. And this is, we had him on the podcast, Bubba Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
What have you seen from Bubba?
Bubba's awesome. Isn't Bubba fun?
Bubba is a lot of fun.
He's that's got to be the funniest interview. Ben can attest to this. Yeah. Funniest interview, because he was just so simple. He's like, I just want to play ball.
Yep.
I just want to play ball.
No, that's it. I mean, that's Bubba in a nutshell. I think Leody Tavares can be an every player. I really do think he can be a role 5 player. I have much more questions about Bubba being a role 5 player, but 2 years ago, I didn't even think Bubba was a big leaguer. I do think he's
he had a bad year. Bad year.
And he's always had contact issues. He still has them. I mean, that dude, he did walk a couple of days ago. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I launched some fireworks out here in Frisco. I threw a party. We rode 4-wheelers around the parking lot. He drew a walk. So the dude has one walk in 25 Ks in
he does. Yeah. He does not see pitches. He just doesn't.
No, he's there to swing, which is, listen, that's not great in the minor leagues. You take that shit to the big leagues and they will eat your lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, the first time they see you and you haven't seen their breaking stuff, they're going to eat your lunch. And then nowadays you get into the 5th inning and now you just got nasty reliever after nasty reliever coming in. Every reliever in the big leagues, it seems like these days, has 2+ pitches.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the MO now for a reliever. So if you're a low contact, high swing and miss guy these days, that's trouble. However, Bubba and one of, you guys know who Don Welke is? You ever heard that name?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Don Welke. Yep.
So I was fortunate enough, to be able to learn a lot from Don back in the days. And he was very, very generous with his time for me for several years. And one of the things that he used to always stress about a bench player, because you can look at somebody and say, well, he's not good enough to be a everyday guy, but he can be on the bench. One of Don's things was that he used to always stress to me, if you're going to be a bench guy, you have to be able to impact the game from the 7th inning on. So if you're going to be a bench guy, maybe you just have crazy power. Maybe you are a backup catcher with a huge arm who can control the running game. But for the most part, a bench guy is an extra outfielder who's, in Bubba's case, he can steal you a base.
Yep.
He can take an extra base where another runner couldn't. If you're comfortable with it in a game and you've got Heim and Garver, and Heim started, and he gets on first, and it's 2-1. Sub his ass out. Put Bubba out there.
Yeah.
And if there's nobody out in the inning, and
I want to ask you about that, Tip. So the other night I got pissed off at Adolis Garcia because Nate Lowe works a hard walk. He gets on first, and then they put Eli White. They sub Eli White in, and Adolis swings at the first damn pitch.
Yeah, well, we already talked about Adolis, didn't we? There's a reason you're a rookie at 28.
That pissed me off so bad, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Adolis is kind of like Bubba, to be honest. I mean, he had a very similar profile when he was in the minors. Adolis did, like, tons of swing and miss, not a huge on base guy, but he can play center field. He can run, he can catch, he can throw.
He's got a great arm. Yeah.
Yes, and he can impact the baseball when he hits it. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Now, you've got to hit it more often to become a regular. And that's what Adolis did, quite frankly, was he started hitting the ball a little bit more regularly in 2020 and 2021. And I don't know if Bubba can make that transition, but if he can, he's definitely a big leaguer. I mean, he's gonna get there. I think Bubba may get there later this year, to be honest, in some capacity, but he can impact the game off the bench of various ways. And so because of that, there's a role for a guy like that at the big league level.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at Frisco now, looking at their rotation, you got Leiter, you got Bradford, who had one rough outing, but's looked pretty good otherwise. You've had Cole Reagans has done pretty good. I mean,
and my guy, Justin Slayton.
So,
I want to ask you about.
That rotation. That rotation has looked pretty good so far, other than that one outing by Bradford. But what have you seen, and how many of these guys you think have a shot of actually maybe a bullpen role later this season for the Rangers?
Oh, I don't know about this season, but I think a lot of them have a bullpen role. I mean, a lot of them have big league futures. I mean, that's the nice thing about this pitching staff is there's a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, now granted, I don't know that I see a lot of starting pitchers. I think the 1, 2, and 3 in the rotation are starters. And by that, I mean, I go Leiter, Reagans, Bradford. Mm-hmm. I think those are the kind of guys that have a chance to become a starter at the big league level in various capacities. Obviously, Leiter could be a 2, and Bradford could be a 5. But when I look at someone like Bradford, for example, he's a there's always room for a crafty lefty. You know what Bradford reminds me of? Reminds me of Wes Benjamin. I mean, like he's
that's a name drop right there. All right.
He'll get there, and there's always a place in baseball for a crafty lefty who can move the ball around and doesn't walk guys. I mean, shoot, that's Oakland A's MO right there these days. But that's what I've seen from him. I love Slayton. I think Slayton's probably a big league reliever. I do like a lot from what I've seen from him. Weems, who's starting right now, is definitely a big league reliever.
Avery Weems. Yeah.
For a few reasons. One is he's a fastball slider guy, and he sits kind of mid 90s. Like he's been like 94 to 95, touching 6, touching 7, and he's left-handed, and he has a really good slider. And so that makes me think, because he doesn't really have a great third pitch, that makes me think reliever. But then he's also got some pretty well manicured facial hair. He's got a lot of tattoos and there's exceedingly tight pants.
Yeah.
So he is there is
I just lost my mic. I was laughing.
Left-handed reliever like profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no more left-handed reliever profile than kind of a hyperactive guy with a full sleeve and, a nasty fastball and slider. And, and then you got, speaking of full sleeve tattoos, you got Reagans, and he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see him, but he's been 93 to 96, really good fastball command. For him, he's a big leaguer, but it's going to come down to one thing, which is the arm and the fatigue is going to be a factor. I mean, everybody knows the injury history. That's an arm held together by baling wire and duct tape. Like, and when we saw him last year in August in Frisco, he was 88 to 90. And I've talked to him about it, and he said, that was his first year pitching after 3 years.
Yeah.
And he said, I just didn't have anything left in the tank. So I think that for him, this is an important year, but it's not really an important April or May, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. It does.
It's going to be, for me with Reagan's, it's going to be, give me July and August. Let's see when it gets hot. Let's see once you're on start 17, 18, 19. And they're doing an amazing job. And I give Cole a ton of credit because that's some backbreaking shit that he went through emotionally.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys know of that, but remember he went through full rehab from Tommy John. And then it was the day before, warm up the day before he was supposed to take the mound for the first time in 14 months. And the repaired ligament gave out. So he literally went back to day one and in the rehab assignment. And I love the kid. I couldn't be rooting for him more. And the changeup is filthy. I mean, it is a beastly pitch. So he's trying this year. He's working really, really hard on using the curveball and slider more because he, like all kids, will fall back to his best pitch, which the changeup just eats up righties. I mean, he's left-handed and he'll go fastball in, changeup away, and it is lethal. But like I said, I mean, for Reagan's, it's going to come down to what do you got? What do you got July 28th? What are you doing August 9th? Mm-hmm. Give me some of your data points and let's see how you're doing. And he's doing everything that he's supposed to do. His arm care routine is insane, and he doesn't miss a minute of it. So I'm rooting for him.
What do you think about Sam Huff?
As a person, I love him. As a prospect, I've got a lot of questions. Another guy with contact issues. And
he reminds me of like a right-handed Joey Gallo.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Joey hit 320 when he was in Frisco.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
And played a good third base. I mean, he really did. 320 with a 400 OPS because he was drawing walks. I don't know. Is my honest answer. Am I rooting for him? Hell yes.
Yeah.
I watched him catch again in Surprise. He is just his size difference there. It's just odd. Like you just see it and you're just like, it's the first thing you notice. Like, holy crap. Like that is an absolute Hulk in that catcher's gear. I mean, it's like, remember when Cam Newton first came along?
Yeah. Cam Newton. Yeah.
And everyone's like, when Cam Newton would go in the huddle at Auburn.
Broke the rookie record for most passing yards.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I remember him in the huddle at Auburn and just being like, what the hell? Is that the quarterback or the tight end or
Well, I'll never forget it. It was they had him on Golick and Greenberg on ESPN, and they had DeMarcus Ware, who obviously was a monster. Yeah. But then they had Cam Newton, and Greenberg goes, that guy's bigger than DeMarcus Ware.
Mm-hmm.
He's huge. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of eye-popping when you see Sam in the catcher's gear, and he moved fine. Like I'll be honest, I didn't watch a whole lot of him in Surprise because he was on the AAA field, and my focus when I'm out there is seeing all the A-ball guys. So I watched quite a few of his, innings back there, but he didn't have to do a whole lot when I watched him, and he was doing fine. But there's a lot of question marks for me there. The moonshot home runs are fun.
Yeah.
He hits it. It's not normal. I mean, I can tell you that, but
let's talk about one of his good friends, Ricky Venasco. What do you think about Ricky?
I think that he's had a really rough start to the season.
Yeah.
To be honest, coming off of Tommy John, he's had a really rough start, but I like his profile so much. And if you told me 4 years from now the best closer in the American League is Ricky Venasco, I wouldn't be one bit surprised.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he'll get a million opportunities to start. I mean, he's in high A for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
But he's already on the 40-man. So I was expecting him and Owen White in Frisco. I was hoping for
Owen White's in the
Owen White is a different conversation. That's was hoping for them at the beginning of June. I don't necessarily know that I see that right now for Venasco.
Hey guys, I got an update. Adolis Garcia just drew a walk.
What?
Hey!
That was breaking news right there. Good job.
And you know what? I could tell you the same for Bubba Thompson, but they're in Reno, so they haven't started yet.
Oh,
so,
okay.
If there needs to be a party or some kind of fireworks or something. If Adolis and Bubba draw a walk in the same night.
Oh, yeah.
And if
History.
they can get Sam Huff to draw, if Huff draws a walk too, I'm buying a lottery ticket. Like that's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that's my thought on Venasco right now. Hasn't had a great start to the season. I love his makeup. I love his mentality, but he's got kind of that reliever vibe to me. But I say that knowing, first of all, he's going to get 50 more starts in the minor leagues. I mean, they're going to give him a million chances. And I say that if he does transition into a reliever, that could be an elite reliever. Mm-hmm. He could be a monster back there. So, but I don't know that he's coming to Frisco anytime soon. I do believe that Owen White probably will.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. That is special. Owen White is special shit. It really is. Just the makeup, the mindset, the mentality, and then the stuff. I mean, he is 96 to 98. In a couple years, he's going to throw 100. He's got a good slider, good changeup, good curveball. The slider and the curveball have very different shapes, but good tunneling. Like all the data points I've been told are really strong on him. Mm-hmm. And then he competes. I mean, he's nasty. I mean, he's out there. You know where he's from is China Grove, North Carolina. He's from about 45 minutes outside of.
I was stationed over there.
Were you really?
I was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Well, there you go. Well, he's from China Grove. He reminds me, and I'm not just saying this because of the news of the day. But you know who's from Hickory, North Carolina, and likes to hunt and fish and shoot things is Madison Bumgarner. And I call Owen White Bar Fight. I call him Bar Fight White. And there's kind of some similarities there. I mean, now, if you want to have Madison Bumgarner put into perspective, Owen White's 22. By the time he was 22, Madison Bumgarner had started and closed a World Series championship game.
Yeah.
Ben, do you remember that? We were actually podcasting that night against the Royals.
Oh, really?
I remember.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. Well, and so he's not, you never like to throw out comps like that because someone will take it and run with it.
Yeah.
But personality wise, I see some of that. I mean, he missed all of last year because he punched the ground in his first start after his own error. Like it was his throwing error and he punched the ground because he was pissed off, broke his hand and was out until September. So, but what I saw from him in surprise was elite stuff. I mean, he is I can tell you this, the biggest compliment I can give him is that the distance between him and Leiter is not that great.
Wow.
It's not that huge.
Whoa.
In terms of raw stuff. I mean, they're both 22 years old and people need to stop sleeping on Owen White because that is a unique setup that he has.
Cool. Well, one offensive player I wanted to talk about at Frisco, we talked to him at Media Day, is Dustin Harris, who started a little bit slow, but has kind of heated up a little bit. What do you see in Dustin Harris?
An everyday left fielder.
Yeah.
I really do. I think now he's had some adventures out there. He had another one last night. I'm talking to you guys instead of rolling out there tonight, but I think we're going to get some storms. I kind of want to watch the Mavericks game anyways. So, and I saw the two relievers that I'm hot on, Jacobson and Chase Lee. I saw them last night. So
Chase Lee, that's our guy.
Yep.
Yeah, the
our guy, the Viper.
Dustin had another adventure last night. He's going to be fine out there. Yeah. It's just going to take reps. And I give the Rough Riders and the Rangers a ton of credit. They just keep trotting his happy ass out there.
Yep.
Like, look, son, you've got to figure this shit out. Like, you're going to be a left fielder. You've got a shot. Yeah. This is your best position to get into the big leagues as soon as possible. He had a terrible first week. He looked overmatched. His body language wasn't great. And all that dude has done since then is hit the snot out of the ball. Now, the minor leagues are using the major league ball this year. So it's dead. There's not a lot of bombs, which is kind of a drag. But nobody's hitting the ball on Frisco harder than him. I mean, he is He hits the crap out of the ball, and he's a ton of fun to watch. He's got himself into a good situation too, where his living, a lot of the guys this year, because the team is paying for it, it's the first time ever.
Yeah.
Because they were paying for it, the Rangers got to have some say in who everybody was rooming with. Because when the players are paying for it, you can't tell somebody who's going to be their roommate or not, And I think that the Rangers and Dustin did a savvy thing because they put him with some guys who are a lot of fun and have really good makeup. Full disclosure, whatever. Their house in Frisco, it's him, Kellen Strom, Blaine Krim, and Trey Hare, who's an old school veteran on the team.
Yep.
Those dudes are fun-loving, good head on their shoulders. I would imagine there's a lot of conversations about baseball in that house, and then there's a lot of conversations about how many tacos could a rhinoceros eat if a rhinoceros had 4 beers. Like, those are fun dudes, and I think that kind of helps Dustin. He's a really nice kid, and that's I've said on Twitter, and I've said it before, that you've got to kind of squint. Rangers have a very deep system, but you've got to kind of squint to see everyday players. That's one of the ones you don't have to squint that hard. You can look at him wide-eyed and say, okay, I think that could be an everyday left fielder. I mean, he's 22 now. He hits the ball so hard now that you just kind of dream. When I watch him hit, I think, how hard is that kid going to hit the ball when he's 25 or 27? The answer is hard as hell. Like, he's going to smash it. And I think very, very highly of him as a player and as a kid. And I think that the sky's the limit for that kid.
All right. Well, before we let you go, and thank you again for joining us tonight, we really do appreciate it. We always ask the hard-hitting, really important question at the end of every interview that we do. So we are going to.
You're on the hot seat now, Tip.
We're going to hit you with our hardest-hitting question.
Okay.
What is your go-to at Whataburger?
Oh, that's just a single with cheese, ketchup, and mustard only. And let me tell you, I can tell you right now that you're going to have a lot of guests that will come on here and talk about Whataburger. I've been in the restaurant business now for 31. Yesterday, the 2nd, I got my first birthday on. I've got my first restaurant job on May 2nd, on my 15th birthday. I'm 46 now. I've been in the restaurant business now for 31 years. No one you're going to have on this show has eaten more damn Whataburger than me. It's when you finish work. I have never finished work really before 8 p.m. ever in my life, since I was 15 years old. Yeah. And Whataburger and Taco Bell, there has come a point where as I've grown, that has become more and more of a terrible idea to just have dinner at Whataburger and Taco Bell every day. But I will tell you that I am a Whataburger expert. I have noticed a little bit of a turn down since they were acquired. I'm a little bit concerned about the Chicago hedge fund screwing up our beloved Whataburger. But, change happens. It's inevitable. And that is my go-to order. And you let me know if someone comes on the show who has had more Whataburger or has been eating Whataburger for 31 years. This guy.
When we had Levi Weaver on, that was how we found out he actually eats, was when we asked him the Whataburger question.
Levi, we're trying to figure out if Levi does anything but drink coffee. That's all he does.
These are all very good questions. I mean, I've shared a lot of time with Levi, but I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, we shared a few meals, but Ben was there with him in Frisco for media day, and Levi's wearing a freaking hoodie.
He was wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, I think that's Levi's whoopee. I think that's his safety blanket. He gets out there and he puts that hoodie on and feels his power, return. And, what a splendid writer he is. I can tell you that he's an even better friend, and I'm happy that
we love Levi. We love Chris Halleck. We love Robin Hearn. Taylor's sister. Sure. I mean, and we're now going to fall in love with you. So,
yeah. Well, we've got to get you guys out. I know Ben said that he might have a chance because he's the local one to come out on Saturday night. And if people are listening to this, when will this thing post up? You guys,
it'll be tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be up tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you have a chance, Saturday night, you never know what you're going to get at any baseball field.
No.
I mean, everybody knows that. You go out and see a no-hitter. You go out and see Nolan Ryan. When I was a kid, I went and saw Nolan Ryan in what I believe was the shortest outing in a 3
I've got Nolan right here beating the shit out of Robin Ventura right in front of my desk.
Let me tell you, I saw him go 1 1/3.
Oh, wow.
One time. It was awful. Like I waited for weeks, and then we got there.
Was it the Blue Jays game? Because you and I might have been there at the same damn game. I was a little bitty kid.
Yeah, he gave up 7. So you never know what you're going to get. That said, Saturday night in Frisco has the markings of something special where you've got Jack Leiter versus George Kirby.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Mariner's going to be a problem, fellas.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Me and Ben have talked about that. They're coming.
Kirby, I saw him last year. He pitched in Frisco. And then he pitched in the opening series. Remember, they just had that little 3-day series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sits 97, 98, and he can hit a thimble off a street cone from 66. I mean, that dude is, when you're sitting 98 with pinpoint command, he's thrown 25 innings this year. He's got 5 walks, got 32 Ks, and a 1.8 ERA. He is special. And then they've got Logan Gilbert. They've got, Matt Brash. Mariner's going to be a problem. They look like they're going to be a problem anyways. You never know how it pans out. But if anybody has a chance and they're listening and you're just looking for something to do on Saturday night, I know Sunday is Mother's Day, but come on out. And hopefully, Ben, we'll see you out there. And
yes, sir.
People can come on out. You can sit behind home plate for $21.
Yeah.
So, can't beat that.
Well, Mike, thank you for your time, sir.
And send me pictures.
Yeah, send them out to Amarillo. Well, we were talking before the pod rolled. We got to get you to meet the Carey brothers. They're the most famous sod poodles these days.
Yeah.
The great grandsons of Harry Carey on the microphone. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, whenever you're here in town, just let us know and let me know, and we'll get you out to Frisco.
Tep, I threw out the first pitch. I threw out the first pitch on Father's Day last year in Amarillo.
Did you really? Did you get it over?
Oh, hell yeah. I got video of it.
You go to the rubber?
Well, they wouldn't let me.
They wouldn't let him go to the rubber.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me go
to the grass. You stayed on the grass?
Right in front of the mound. And then I asked the girl that was the media director, I said, how hard can I throw this? She goes, just don't kill him.
Yeah. Just get it there. No, it's terrifying. I throw out the first pitch in a couple of high school games that I sponsor through my pizza shop, and there's about 75 people there, and I'm 100% terrified. It's terrifying. I don't envy you at all for doing that. So kudos on getting it to the catcher's mitt. Yay. That's a victory. So, but if you're ever here, let us know. And Ben, hopefully we'll see you this weekend. And
yes, sir.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. It was a pleasure to just ramble on about it's always fun to ramble on about the farm.
It is. All right. Thanks, Mike. We do appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Take care.
Take care, buddy.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.